Hi, volunteers. My name is Aaron Pally, and I'm the race director for the inaugural Ludington Swim Run brought to you by Odyssey. It's happening on Sunday, October 3rd. And I just wanted to take a second to introduce myself, say thank you to all of you for volunteering for the event, and also to go over each position briefly. Figure it's just better to put in some face time and introduce myself than to always be on email until you guys see me at the event. So hopefully you have just a little bit of time to listen to this, and just note that I will probably email you as well. It's better to have a little bit of overkill with the information than it is to not provide enough. So without further ado, let's hop right in. Share my screen here. Okay, so if you volunteered, odds are you've probably made it to our website. If you haven't, odysseyswimrun.com. Go to races and down to Ludington, and it'll bring you up to the race specific page. Over here's our volunteer link. This links directly to Run Sign Up where you signed up. If you know anyone that still wants to volunteer, we could use our hydration station / swim exits could use a couple volunteers at each one. We need some crossing guards and some parking attendants still. So that's available there. If you don't mind sharing that, we appreciate it. So this is our race specific page. All the information in general that you could want is on this page. We also have over here under info our frequently asked questions and rules page. That tends to pertain mostly to the athletes, but we find the volunteers that are educated on the athlete level as well as the volunteer level tend to be even that much better out there. So if you have time and you can look through the frequently asked questions and this race page, that's even better. On this page, you'll find an interactive Google map. It says athletes and spectators. That should actually say volunteers as well on there. I'm going to click that. And for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use this to kind of go over every position. Now, the positions are listed on here, I believe, kayaks and medical and water stops and all that good stuff. So I'm going to keep this as brief as possible, because I am doing most of the positions. So some of these may apply to you, some may not. Bear with me here. So Saturday, if you're volunteering for packet pickup is down here at Legacy Plaza. And that is located at North James Street, and Ludington Avenue will be under the pavilion itself, just handing out packets. I won't get into too much of what you're going to do there. Basically, show up, walk up, I'll give you your shirt and give you some direction. It's super easy. You're going to help me probably sort some stuff prior to athletes showing up, and then you'll just hand out some shirts or timing chips. You might sell some stuff for us. I have an iPad with a Square system all hooked in. So you may find yourself doing any of those things if you sign up for packet pickup. That is, again, the day before, and the shift is like, I think I have it as 12:30 to 4:30. But those details, as far as locations and times, we will email to you if they already haven't been automatically by our system, or you didn't see those when you registered. That should have all been in there as well. That's really the only thing we have for the day prior. So skipping right into the race itself, all athletes, for the most part, unless they have transportation with someone that's willing to drive them, excuse my screen zooming here, all athletes are going to drive in and gather down at the beach in the state park. They're going to park here and in this small parking lot here, and then overflow will be up into this campsite and mostly over here onto the beach area here where the boat ramp is, where regular cars are permitted to park, and along the actual beach itself here. So for you guys, park anywhere you can. The state park has requested that we do not park on the street, even in the areas that it's legal to do so, just to not clutter up the area with cars. So let's try and respect that as much as we possibly can, please. So the first position that we have, we still actually need to fill the parking attendants, the crossing guards, and the hydration stations. We have a handful already signed up, but we can definitely use more. So any of you that sign up to be that are parking attendants, you'll get a vest on site when you show up. And again, the exact location and times will be emailed to you, but this is Sunday morning, early, very early. And you'll get a light baton and a vest. and just direct people to turn into this parking lot. There'll likely be another person back here making sure once that's full, we don't get people in here that can't park, just wasting time. Once that's full, we'll put some cones across and direct people to park in this parking lot. Same thing there. Once that's full, direct people down the road and just tell them to find parking further down the road. So that's the parking lot attending. We're not going to need any help getting people on the bus. The long course athletes will load the bus prior to the short course athletes getting there. So the long course athletes will be gone. Short course starts inside the state park, and long course starts in Ludington. Long course, when they start in Ludington, they start an hour before the short course does, so that a lot of them can make their way over to where the course for both merge together. So long course athletes will eventually find their way through Piney Ridge here and get in right around Hamlin Lake. Short course athletes, when they start an hour later, will start in this small parking lot where the shuttle boarded earlier, and they'll run straight out, turn, do these stairs, and run the dune trails here and connect with the long course athletes over here. Once they connect at this point, they're all on the same course. So aside from parking lot attendants, crossing guards, same kind of deal. I'm going to give you a light baton that you'll use. You're going to have a bright colored vest. Any crossing guards are not responsible for stopping actual vehicular traffic. These athletes know that the courses are open, and that any point where they cross the road, they have to abide by traffic and pedestrian laws. So they're expected to do that. They're expected also to look out for their own safety. When there's vehicle present, to let that vehicle cross the area and get out before they actually cross the road. They shouldn't get mad if they have to actually physically stop racing, let the car by. Most of these areas, there's only a handful that cross the road. And for most of them, it's either early enough in the morning or it's remote enough where they're not going to be sitting there for minutes and minutes on it. So don't worry too much about that. If you are a crossing guard, your job is just to alert the athlete, hey, that you're crossing the road here. Hey, look out for cars. Hey, there's a car actually coming. Athlete, stop, let that car cross. So the crossing guards are not actually in the road. They are more on the trail where the athlete is, looking out for their well-being, assuming that athlete is not looking out for their own well-being, or that they're very tired and they're just kind of out of it. That is the job of the crossing guards, to just kind of keep them as safe as possible. So those areas where we're going to need crossing guards, potentially down here in the city itself, but the cops are helping us with that. There's one here on Long Course where they cross Bryant. There is another crossing guard potentially right here on Piney Ridge Road. And then the last one we really need would be over here. And the last part of the course where all racers are on the footpath here, but they're crossing from the left side of the road to the right. So they're actually crossing the road here. Cars in this area are typically used to pedestrians crossing there with the thousands of visitors that come in. That's a very busy crossing spot, but still having someone there is a good thing. We can also double up volunteers. The first volunteer that we have over on Bryant could come over here for later in the day. So aside from the crossing guard and the parking lot, I'm going to get into, in general, kayakers. So our first kayak position, one kayak right here. Most of the kayakers, we're full. So if you're a kayaker and you're listening to this, I'm assuming you have your own kayak. If you don't, and you haven't let us know that you need one of ours, we can certainly rent you one very easily. We can even put it in the spot that you need it to be that morning, but you need to let us know ahead of time. Most of the people that have reached back out to me have said that they have their own kayaks. So that's great. We appreciate that. And so you're going to, whatever position you're assigned to, and I'm again going to send an email to you, but whatever position you signed up for, you're going to drive there. You're going to get there early. The time you need to get there and arrive to the time you need to stay until will be in the email as well. But you're going to get there early. You're going to launch and you're going to be out in the water. Now, your job when you're out there is to be scanning the water to make sure nobody is swimming off course, whether that in a position like this, you're on Lake Michigan, making sure that people are just staying to our orange buoys that we put in here, and they're not getting it's so close to shore, they're like running on the beach, or so far out that we're worrying about them being swept out or whatever. So the kayak's really there to kind of position themselves. to just watch over everything. Now you can paddle back and forth between this last buoy and the first buoy if you want, but usually things aren't going to happen that are going to need you in the right in the beginning here, more kind of in this beginning section, or at the end, not right at that last buoy, but more in this last or the second half. So maybe patrol somewhere in this area here. And the biggest thing you're going to get are either people swimming off course, or more so maybe someone that's cramped that just needs to hold on to the front of your kayak. Always have them hold on to the front of your kayak. Always keep an eye on them while you're monitoring the rest of the course. And so they're just going to hold on to your kayak until they're rested and they can take off from there. So if there's any emergency, you're going to call 911. If there's something that's not quite an emergency but needs some basic medical care, I'm going to email you guys some contact info of the medics assigned to your section. Have your cell phones fully charged and on you. There's plenty of reception here. We don't usually do radios, especially at a race like this one where the reception's good. Just use your cell phone. Call 911 in an emergency, but basic cases, just call the medical in the area, or call Brian, who's the medical director. His number will be on there, and he'll find his way over and help out whoever needs that. So that goes for kayaks that are anywhere on the course. That also goes for motorized boats that are anywhere on the course, and we'll get to that in a minute. When you're done with your section, you're going to know you're done because we're going to have someone on a bike at the very end following the last athlete. So we will clear you out of the section. With a number of our races, we say that, and we get the kayakers calling us constantly to ask if they're cleared out of the section. Sometimes that's warranted. We've had some races where the last person to follow the last rider or the last runner has also had to pick up the course. So they were further behind and actually didn't let them know. With this race, that should not be the issue. There will be someone, whether it's medical or whether it's just someone on a bike, that's following the last person. It is very common, especially as the race goes on, to get people that are separated by tens of minutes between the swimming. So you might get a bunch of people that come through and then a couple stragglers and then no one for 20 minutes. That does not mean that that's it. So you're more than welcome to text us. That's fine. Reach out. But just know that unless we come through and clear you, there are other people that are back there, slower people that still need your help. So your shift will end when we come through and clear you. Now, the time range that I'm going to give you usually accounts for worst case. That end of that is going to account for someone that's probably swimming a 3 minute per 100, or maybe even a 2:30 per 100 meter, and running or walking, I guess it is, a 20-minute mile. So it should be pretty close to that. If anything, you're going to be able to get out of there a little sooner. Now, this specific position doubles up on itself. The first person here is the first swim for this kayak. But then when you're done, you're going to pack up, including these 3 buoys, which are very easy to grab and pull out of the water. They're 14-inch mooring buoys that are orange, and they have a bungee attached to them with a kettlebell at the end. So you're going to pack those up along with your kayak, and you're going to take those all the way out. That position is actually going all the way out here to this lighthouse. So you're going to set it up much in the same way. Set these buoys out where it's about chest deep, maybe neck deep, for them to swim. Or if there's any debris, which we'll talk to you about, you would set them out even further to avoid that. But you're going to set those 3 so that they can kind of swim along those and see where the course is. This is a very short swim, and your duty is exactly the same. It's just going to be to monitor, make sure everyone's okay, and that no one's swimming too far out. That being said, this specific swim is about a 50-50, whether it'll even happen. So just be in communication with us. This area later in the day is known for big waves, and it's a metal break wall. So if we deem it not safe, we won't have this. What you will do is you will sit here in that case and just talk to athletes, tell them it's not happening. They can get in and cool off from the run if they need to, but they're just going to run around this break wall just as if they were swimming, but they're still on land, and join up with the next run and head out. So that's one of the things that may happen there. As far as driving your vehicle back here, we will get you special permission, whether that means a key, whether that means that someone's there to open this gate for you when you drive down, but you should be able to drive your car all the way down there. Now, everyone else pertaining to the rest of the swims, there's a kayaker here, same type of deal. We're going to lead the athletes right up to where the swim starts with flagging or whatever we use to get them out there. Now, where they exit is a big, tall pink flag at the exit. Some of the swims have orange buoys, some don't. This, for instance, this Quarry Lake is one where they do not get orange buoys, because when they get in, it's very simple. There's hardly anyone out here. You can see the swim exit where the dune is here, where they're going to climb. So if you get out to your swim and you don't see orange buoys, just assume that that is not one that hasn't. They're going to get out and run up this dune. But again, the swim exits are marked with big pink flags. Okay, going to the next kayak or next swim course here. If you're one of the kayaks that's on this swim, this Hamlin Lake swim, we have a number in this area. We have actually, let's see, we have 3 in this area. We have one that is right here where they get in. It's what is called Rick's Spot. It's this beach here. They're going to get in. And this kayaker here should really just kind of monitor this area, making sure these swimmers don't swim to the beach or swim around for some reason. Sometimes they do weird things. But this is a section where we have orange buoys. We have 4 of them that we will lay out ahead of time. The swimmers for this swim get in on this beach and they just follow these orange buoys. They're going to swim under this bridge here and just keep following the orange buoys, getting out way over here at this pink flag, big dune climb. Now, once they do that, they're going to circle back counterclockwise on this trail and get in at the boardwalk. There's a really short swim here, jumping in at the boardwalk, swimming over to this little peninsula and getting out. So this kayak here, you're going to kind of monitor this area. Now, there's 2 kayaks here. This further one up is going to just kind of watch as people get out and look from here over to where this other kayak is monitoring, and just watch this section here. This kayak down here is twofold. If you're in this area, you're going to watch this swim here where they get in at the boardwalk and make sure they kind of just hug the shoreline and get out at this peninsula here. This will have a pink flag at this exit, but it's tucked back in. So the only people that should be able to see that are ones at the boardwalk that are swimming towards it going this way. The people that are on the swim prior, swimming along where these buoys are, shouldn't really see this, or it should be tucked away enough where it's an afterthought. They're not really seeing that. They're following these orange buoys to this pink flag up here. So again, you kayakers that are in this whole area of Hamlin Lake and Lost Lake, the swim courses should kind of just run themselves, but you're going to make sure people have a place to rest if they get a cramp or they're just tired. In an emergency, you're going to try and get them to shore. You're going to call medical if you need to. Otherwise, it should be a pretty easy day. You're just kind of monitoring your section, staying out of their way, watching, guiding, answering questions if they have them. And if you have any questions prior to the event, let us know, please. But we'll be in contact with each specific position, detailing out a little bit more what you do. But if you're watching this and I'm talking to you and I've assigned you to this position or you've signed up for it, just know that's what's going on. For my 2 motorized boats that I have, which are, I think, going to be pontoons, I've already kind of reached out to you. This area here is really the only spot that I need the motorized boats. I'm assuming because most of the boats are out for the year, as far as being winterized and out of the lake, that it shouldn't really be an issue. But you guys are just going to be right here in this Hamlin Lake area, making sure that there's no fishermen that are blasting onto the course or trying to go under this bridge when there's swimmers, or if they are going under here, just letting them know ahead of time, hey, that is an actively open swim course. There will be athletes. Be careful out there. We don't have the ability to close anything. You guys aren't acting as, Coast Guard or anything like that, but just wave people down, make them slow down, or ask them, I guess, to slow down and really make them aware of what's going on. If they can go somewhere else and they don't mind and they're not going into the Lost Lake area, that's probably best. But we certainly don't want to ruffle any feathers or get in any heated arguments. Just if you're out there and you're a volunteer, kill them with kindness. That goes for the athletes, spectators, random people that are out just enjoying the state park. Please, no matter what, always be kind. If it's a volatile situation and it's getting heated, walk away. Or if you can't walk away from the situation based on what's going on, call us. Call Brian for medical. He'll come over and diffuse anything. I'll come over. We can get the state park involved because we do have permission to be there, just not to close anything down. So that's it for that swim area, guys. Up here, I've already gone over the lighthouse area, and then down here is the river. So we also have 3 lifeguards signed up. So if you're a lifeguard, I'm likely going to assign 1 lifeguard to this area here with like a bike. Even a car would be okay to monitor this, drive into one area, being there for a little bit, drive into another. A bike is probably best. One lifeguard kind of over here to where this bridge is centralized, can get anywhere they need pretty quick, especially on a bike. And then maybe a lifeguard up here at this area. It's pretty remote out by the lighthouse. I do have medics out there as well, and I'll go over that in a minute, but it never hurts to have a lifeguard there too. So you three that are signed up, I'll reach out to you. I greatly appreciate that. If you have a red lifeguard shirt or jacket of some kind, please bring that. If you have a whistle, if you have any kind of rescue tube, if you have a medical pack, we have some of that stuff, but if you have your own, that's even better. So bring what you can. None of it's required, but bring whatever you can. Kayaks here. You guys can launch these if you park right here, and there's a dirt launch right here. You can drag it down, or I think over in here, there's another one. Just be on this side of the dam and then float the river down. You see where I have you guys positioned. We can talk about specifics on that later, or you guys can just decide when you get there who goes where. But just patrol these areas between you and the next kayaker. And this last kayaker here, just be aware that they're going to be getting out before they're swept out. I think the water levels are usually low enough where later in the season, it's not really a problem. We hope to have a volunteer here helping them out. And I've gone over that with the athletes. They need to stay closer to the shore as they come over under the bridge so that they can get out and just run to the finish. So again, same duties, call in case of emergency or medical, and let them rest on your kayak. We'll clear you when you're done. Get there a little early if you can. And then the next position would be medical that I want to go over. So if you're medical, Brian is going to be the person you report to. He's our director. All medical people get a red vest that we need back at the end, but you're going to wear that during the event in order to be identified as medical. You guys, a lot of this is accessible by car, but if you're positioned in an area like this one out in Piney Ridge that is off the beaten path, you can't get there by car, you can drive to either side, park, and use a bike. If you're in shape and you want to run it or hike it, you can do that as well. But a bike's usually a better solution there, so you can get places a little bit faster. So make sure you have your cell phone fully charged. In addition to that red vest that we need back, we're going to give you a blue backpack that has a whole bunch of really good medical supplies in it. We're going to have water and Gatorade in there as well. We need that pack back at the end. And if you had any type of medical, whether it was a call, an actual emergency you called 911 for, or a basic treatment, we need an incident report. So even if you don't file that right away during the event, make sure you get with Brian afterwards, give him details. You're going to have to file something just so we have something on file for our insurance after the event. We're sanctioned, so we have to report anything that happens. That's really the extent of the medical. I've got these positioned on here in different areas. A couple of these double up on each other. So if you're in a position where, you know, it's for instance, position 2 and then 5, when we clear you from 2, you then jump over to 5 and monitor that. So aside from that, the only other positions left would be at the finish line. And a lot of that's my family. And maybe I'm talking to you, or if there's some other people that have signed up. There's meals that are going to be pre-prepared in bags that we're going to hand out to the athletes. We also have a position where when they cross the line, they're going to have a timing chip on their ankle. We need that back. And we also need, it's called a rest tube. It looks like a little fanny pack around their waist. The solo athletes have that. We need that back. And then some people will have wetsuits. Not very many. There's only 19 that actually rented suits from us, but we'll need those back as well. So if you're at the finish, that's a position, getting all that stuff from the athletes and sorting it out. Handing out food. We're going to have these sweatshirts at the finish, handing those out. But we do need to make sure that when we hand those out, whoever's in charge of that will have to actually check them in on your phone. We have an app. It's real easy, but making sure they get the size they ordered, and they can't exchange sizes, because if they do, then the people later in the day will run out of the size that they need. So we have to keep track of those. We also have some bags that just have dry clothes that they've checked. Those will be in a big pile at the end. We don't officially check those in and out, but we just kind of watch them to make sure no one that is outside of the race is digging through those bags, and that they are actually athletes looking through. We urge them to not put anything of value in those bags, and they usually don't, so it's not an issue. But just somebody kind of keeping an eye on those, making sure it's only athletes going through. The only other position would be at our swim exits / water stops. We like to have someone at each exit. Now, that's not mandatory. If we have enough people, we actually try to implement that. If not, we put them in strategic areas where we can. If you're at a swim exit, And I'm going to let's just use this long course exit here. If you're at this swim exit, most of the time we try to put our water stops right by our swim exit. Sometimes they have to be separated out. This person, for instance, if you're a hydration person or a swim exit person, I think all we have are swim exit people for this race. We come through and we set up these hydration station. It consists of a water cooler and an electrolyte cooler and an orange bucket full of gels with a trash bag. It's pretty much self-serve. They're not going to run out of any of that stuff. They know not to litter. So the athletes are going to serve themselves. There's no cups. They have a silicone cup we give them that they can carry on them, so that there's less waste there. If they get a gel and they use it, they know to throw it out. There's really nothing to restock or to help them with. But if you're at a swim exit and the water stop is close by, just kind of keep an eye on that. But mainly these positions are swim exits. So if you are one of those swim exit volunteers, you're going to find your way to this exit. For this position, you would park here, walk down, and get right to here. So the map I'm using, I will have sent you that, or I will send it to you. And if you pull this map up and you're there, you're going to show as a live blue dot. So you can actually work your way based on this interactive map exactly to where you need to be. So for this swim exit, you'd walk over here. Every swim exit volunteer will get a link. That link goes to a form. It's a Google form and it live feeds to our timing. So at every swim exit we want to manually record every number that gets out. So as an athlete comes across to this big pink flag and they exit, they're going to have a number on their chest. That number could be anything from 1,000 to like 3,000, I think. But you're going to just type that number into the number field on that form. And once you have it, hit submit. And then you'll tap another link and it'll bring you back to that original screen where you enter the number. And you'll do that for every person that comes through. Now, if you don't have reception or it's just going too quick and you can type the numbers out on like a notepad quicker and then enter them in later or just send them as a text, that's fine as a backup. We'd prefer that they go in on that form because if they do, then we have a live feed of everybody exiting the water. So that's great from a timing and an announcing standpoint. We can see where everyone's at on that form. At its root form, though, we want that because it's a safety check. If we find that we've cleared an area, but there's not the same amount that have gotten out of the water than started that section, then we know something's wrong. Either someone got lost on the trails or they quit without letting us know, or God forbid, something happened in the water and we didn't see it and they went under. But it is a safety check for us. We've never had a problem with any of that. But knock on wood, the second we don't implement it, that's what happens. So better safe than sorry. There's a number of reasons we do that, but that's the gist of the swim exit. So if you're at the exit and people are exiting quicker than you can take the number, we've told them that you might stand in front of them. Non-aggressively get in front of them and ask them for their number. They'll give it to you. Don't be so passive on the side that you're allowing people to go by without recording that number. It's okay to get in their face. They kind of expect it. And it's a rule they have to tell you. If there's someone at an exit and they run by you without telling you, that is grounds for a disqualification. That's how serious we take it on their side. So be okay with doing that, guys. We'll clear you from your section the same way we clear the kayakers from a section. We'll let you know when the last person's come through, and that's really all that entails. So that's about it, guys, for the volunteer positions. This went a little longer than I thought. Hopefully you sat through it and now you're better educated. I'll send out some emails with some more details, maybe even call all of you guys, since we don't have a whole ton of people that need to cover positions for this race. It allows me to get a little more personal with it. So thanks again for volunteering. Please let us know if you have any questions and I'll talk to you soon.